Wanna see how I animated this scene from my TPOT animator audition? Watch until the end to find out. Hi. As you may have seen, animator applications for TPOT and BFDI opened a week or two ago. I, of course, applied, but after a while, I noticed people making audition videos for it too. I didn't think it was required, but it wouldn't hurt to do it just in case, so let's do that. The auditions I've seen use scenes from TPOT, so I'll use this one to be exact.
You good, Tree?
Yes, my head just feels yucky and weird, but I did find a time reversal ray.
Use it on Marker. See if it undoes his burns from earlier.
I feel younger by the second. Good as new. Fine.
This video probably won't be too long, but I hope you guys enjoy seeing me make this anyway.
It's yours, TD. Bye-bye.
Continuing from my last few animations, I am making an animatic based on the original scene, which is much more convenient as a reference than having the original scene on YouTube on repeat. This time, I remembered to turn on my drawing tablet. Sorry again for the editing mistakes last time, by the way. Anyways, this animatic was a little underwhelming, since it was similar to the OG and took me like twice the time it did before. It doesn't matter that much cause it's just a rough sketch kinda thing, and obviously, it took longer because the scene is longer, but maybe in just overreacting. If you make animatics or use them in your animations, how long do they take you?
Michonne?
You good, Tree?
Yes, my head just feels yucky and weird, but I did find a time reversal ray.
Use it on Marker. See if it undoes his burns from earlier.
I feel younger by the second. Good as new. Fine.
Now let's animate.
Doing deaths now.
Unlike in my last video, I'll be using my regular style this time. If you want to see me animate in different styles, check out my last video where I do just that. In this animation, I wanted to try something I've seen in some TPOT scenes where the legs and arms bend and stuff. It's a small detail, but it goes a long way in making the character's movements more fluid and livelier. I tried replicating this for Fanny's legs with a graphic symbol with nested greens and stuff, but trying to make the transition from bent to straight legs while squashing and stretching with Fanny this way was harder than I expected. Even though it was a little frustrating, that just meant I should try a different way of doing it. Eventually I got it looking how I wanted and moved on to Marker, who was much easier to animate thankfully. I didn't try to make Marker move too much as to not distract the viewer from the focal points of the scene, which are Fanny and Tree. Speaking of Tree, I also tried the limb bending technique for his arm, but instead of having two tweens in the same symbol and trying to align that with the rest of the character, I made two symbols with one tween each. It's a bit hard to explain, but you should be able to see what I mean in the footage here. Since I couldn't find the asset of the time reversal ray thing, I had to improvise. Next was the close-up of Tree showing the time reversal ray. For some reason, I just couldn't get his face to look right, so you'll see me constantly ray-drawing and adjusting the eyes here. Since Tree in this scene was loopy, I did things like making his eye twitch and arm shake a little when he lifts it up to further express that. For the twitch, I used the same limb bending technique for the eyelid. So far, this technique has been pretty fun to try and definitely ups the animation quality. It makes animating take a bit longer, which may be a problem if I'm in a rush. What do you think? I animated Lightning next, but since he also had an asset I couldn't get, I had to improvise again. I know I could have just remade the props Tree and Lightning have in this scene, but honestly, I wanted to focus my time on animating rather than the little stuff. That's also why I chose the scene that took place in Golf Falls Underground Factory, since I could use the assets from BFDI instead of spending extra time remaking it or just leaving them in a white void. Marker getting hit by the ray was my favorite part to animate because of how smooth he ended up looking, but I did everyone around him first since I wanted to make sure he had enough space in the frame, especially when he falls. Instead, I started with Lightning and Fanny, and like in the beginning, I tried not to do too much with them to not take the focus away from the subject, which is Marker. I was looking forward to animating the actual beam effect because I honestly had no idea how to do it, so I just used my new bestie, the shaped ween. It does the job, but I feel like I could have embellished it a bit more. After finishing all the characters, I added the background using assets from BFDI. I noticed that the background in the original scene had a dark orange tint to it, so I used an overlay blend mode to replicate that effect. Now I'm not gonna lie, this looked really good, and when I added the sort of shading to the characters too, it was giving cinematic rendition, RTX on, just a nice final touch. But just in case the characters can't be seen very well, I made a version without the shading too. Which version do you like better? Look and tell me in the comments.
Sean?
You good, Tree?
Yes, my head just feels yucky and weird, but I did find a time reversal ray.
Use it on Marker. See if it undoes his burns from earlier.
I feel younger by the second. Ah! Good as new. Fine.
I hope you guys liked the outcome as much as I did. By the way, thank you guys so much for the supportive comments on the animation, and thanks for the feedback too. I felt like I've hit a plateau with my animation skills, so it was helpful to know what I could improve on for the future. From what you guys have said, areas I could build upon would be the mouth assets, movement speed, and bounciness, so maybe my next video could be about improving these skills. If you want to see that or any animation related content, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. If you want to see the audition, it will be in the outro, which is right now. Bye.